Dragon Daiji, the first Dragon Ball console video game ever produced. It was released by Epoch, making it the only game not to feature any kind of involvement with Bandai or subsequent Bandai Namco. The game is an overhead shooting up that allows players to take on the role of Goku, who rides on the Nimbus while firing key blasts and swatting at enemies with his power ball. Dragon Ball Shinro no Nazo, or as in Europe, Dragon Ball Z Dragon. The game was developed by Tosei and released by Bandai in 1986. The game stars Goku and very roughly follows the first two volumes of the Dragon Ball manga, culminating in the first wish from Shinron. The game consists of a 2D overhead areas where Goku must fight enemies and side-scrolling sequence for boss fight. It was added as the bonus feature in the Japanese release of Dragon Ball Origin 2 in 2010. It takes place during the King Piccolo arc. It was the only first game to have a board game which includes battle using cards. The battle card games are a hybrid of role-playing game, board game and trading cards. The player moves around a game board and encounter characters on the way. Some characters offer information and others need to be battled. The outcome of each fight is determined by the randomly generated hand of card players, and opponents are dealt. The player flips over cards in a certain order, and their actions are shown in an animated battle that lasts until one of the characters is defeated. It was released by Bandai on October 27th in 1989 for the Famicom in Japan. A remake was released for the Wonders One Color in 2003. The game related all of the Dragon Ball story until the fight against Piccolo Jr. The main character is Goku as a child and adult. True, Krillin and Yamcha are also playable. Saiyajin, or Dragon Ball Z Assault Saiyan, was the first Dragon Ball Z game to be released for the Famicom system. It was released by Bandai on October 27th in 1990 in Japan. The game features Raditz, Nappa, Vegeta, two Illusion Saiyajin who fight Yamcha, Tien, Piccolo, Gohan, and Krillin in the anime, and an original who transformed into a giant ape. Dragon Ball Z2 激神 Frieza was released by Bandai on August 10 in 1991 in Japan for the Famicom. The game featured the story on Namek and follows closely to the story in the anime, except for the fact that, like in the previous game, Tenshan, Yamcha, and Shazo are not there, but are present in the player's party at the beginning. Dragon Ball Super Saiyajin Densetsu is the first Dragon Ball game for the Super Famicom. It is a remake combining two early games for Famicom, Dragon Ball Z Kyosho Saiyajin and Dragon Ball Z2 Gekishin Frieza. Dragon Ball Z Super BOUT, or in the West Dragon Ball Z Super Fighting Legend, is the first installment in the Super BOUT series. The game was released in Japan on March 20 in 1993 and in France and Spain on November 13 in 1993, simply as Dragon Ball Z Super BOUT, featuring 13 player characters: Goku, Son Goku, Gohan, Piccolo, Vegeta, Super Saiyan Vegeta, Frieza, Cell, Perfect Cell, Trunks, and Android 16 and 18 and 20, and Dr. Gero. And its story mode spans from the Piccolo Junior arc to the conclusion of the Cell games. Dragon Ball Super Butoden 2. The game was released in Japan on December 17 in 1993, and the game was released in North America on the 3DS Virtual Console later on, and the game was a sequel for the Super Butoden 1 with much more improvement from the first game, and the developer added so many characters that wasn't on the first game. Dragon Ball Super Butoden 3 is the third installment in the Super Butoden series. The game was released on Japan on September 29 in 1994, and in France and Spain on January 25 in 1995. Super Butoden 3 featured 10 playable characters, 9 normal and 1 unlockable with a code. It is the only game in this series that lacks a story mode, so the developer chose the idea of skipping the story mode and give their efforts into much more interesting things like the gameplay mechanics and also the animation, because it was a super great game in terms of graphic and animation. Dragon Ball Super Goku Den Titsukuki Hen was released on March 24 in 1995. Titsukuki Hen chronicles the adventure of Goku and his adventure through the stars of Dragon Ball all the way to the final battle with King Piccolo. And later on, a fan-made English translation was released in 2016. Dragon Ball Z Ultimate Battle 2022 was released in Japan on July 28 in 1995 in Japan, and re-released as in PlayStation as PS4 Family on December 6 in 1996. The game features cell drawing like a cel shading from the animators as a character, sprites, and three-dimensional background. The playable characters are Goku, Gohan, Vegeta, Future, Trunks, Cell, Android 16 and Android 18, Frieza, Zarbon, Recom, Captain Ginyu, Deborah, Goten, Kid Trunks, Supreme Kai, Fat Buu, Super Buu, Super Saiyan, Gotenks, Great Saiyan Man, Krillin, Tian, and Piccolo. Dragon Ball Z偉大なるドラゴンボール伝説 The Great Dragon Ball Legends is a fighting game produced and released by Bandai on May 31st in 1996 in Japan, released for the Sega Saturn and PlayStation. Greatest Hits version were released on June 20 in 1997 for the Saturn and June 27 in 1997 for the PlayStation.
形はなくさね本気で怒ったぞ。
Dragon Ball GT Final Bout is a fighting game for the PlayStation. It was produced and released by Bandai in Japan, parts of Europe and North America in 1997. The game was reused in Europe in 2002 and in North America in 2004. The game shares the distinction of being the first game in the series to be rendered in full 3D dimension and the last Dragon Ball game produced for the console, which is the PlayStation 1 and the Saturn.
ご機嫌じゃねえか。
Dragon Ball Z Shin Super Butoden is the fourth installment in the Super Butoden series. The game was released only in Japan on November 17 in 1995. The game features 27 playable characters, their sprites being tools used in an early Dragon Ball Z games, Dragon Ball Z Ultimate Battle 22. Its story mode ranges from the Android arc to the Cell game. Dragon Ball Z Legendary Super Warrior, or in Japan Dragon Ball Z Densetsu no Shu Senshi Tachi, is a turn-based strategy game developed by Flight Plan and released for the Game Boy Color by Banpresto. It was released in Europe on June 30 in 2002 and in Japan on August 9, 2002, and North America on November 2002. It is played with the use of in-game cards for attacks, techniques, and sport items. The game's story takes place from the Saiyan arcs and runs until the end of the series. The game also includes 2 extra stories involving future Trunks' timeline.
Come on! Ready? Fight! Kamehameha!
Dragon Ball Z Budokai is a fighting video game developed by DIMPS for the PlayStation 2, released in 2002, and for the GameCube in 2003. The first game in the Dragon Ball Z Budokai series. It is based on the Japanese anime series Dragon Ball Z, part of the manga franchise Dragon Ball. It was published in Japan by Bandai and in North America by Infogrames Inc. And was the first console Dragon Ball video game in 5 years since Dragon Ball GT Final Boot in 1996. Dragon Ball Z: The Legacy of Goku is a series of video games for the Game Boy Advance based on the anime series Dragon Ball Z. All 3 games are action role-playing games. The first game, the Dragon Ball Z: The Legacy of Goku, was developed by BOUT Technology and released in 2002 for the Game Boy Advance only. The game are action-adventure RPG. The player controls a Dragon Ball character and experience various portion of the franchise. Combat is the main focus of the game. The player can press the button A to use physical strikes, while the B button allows player to unleash a variety of energy-based attack. Energy attacks drain and energy gauge. Dragon Ball Z Budokai 2, released as Dragon Ball Z Budokai 2 in Japan, is a fighting video game developed by DIMPS based upon the anime and manga series Dragon Ball Z. It is the sequel to Dragon Ball Z Budokai for the PlayStation 2 that was released in 2003 and GameCube in 2004. It was published in Japan and in Europe by Bandai, in North America and Australia by Atari. Dragon Ball Z Taiketsu is a fighting game developed by BOUT Technology and published by Atari. It was released on November 24 in 2003 for the Game Boy Advance only. Taiketsu includes 15 playable characters, including Goku, Broly, and some of those are free to play with instantly, and some can only be obtained by winning fights. The selection of the roles represents a mix of villains and heroes throughout the history of Dragon Ball Z. Ball Z Supersonic Warrior is a series of fighting games based on the Dragon Ball franchise. The first game was developed by Arc System Works and Caviar and was released for the Game Boy Advance on June 22nd, 2004. A sequel, Supersonic Warrior 2, was released in 2005 for the Nintendo DS system. Supersonic Warriors pits either 2-player or 2 teams composed of up to 3 characters from the Dragon Ball franchise against each other in large environments. The player can use strong and weak variation of close combat attacks and charge their key to fire strong and weak energy blast.
Take this!
Dragon Ball Z Budokai 3 released Dragon Ball Z Budokai in Japan is a video game based on the popular anime series Dragon Ball Z and was developed by teams for the PlayStation 2. The Japanese version of Dragon Ball Z Budokai 3 had outfit that other versions did not have. Trunks' outfit was long hair with armor, Piccolo was his father King Piccolo, and Goku's third outfit was him with a halo.
Take this!
Advanced Adventure. The game follows the story of the original manga series, chronicling a young Goku adventuring across every story arc leading up to battle against King Piccolo. In this 2-day side-scrolling beat-em-up, special items can be collected throughout each stage, include those that increase the player health and or key Dragon Balls. Clearing the mode unlocks the ability to play as Krillin. The mode is divided in various stage types, including standard platforming level with enemies, flying stage, and one-on-one battle.
Fine then, I'll go first. All right, come on!
Ready, go!
Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi, released in Japan as Dragon Ball Z Sparking, is a series of fighting games developed by Spike based on the Dragon Ball manga series by Akira Toriyama. The series was published by Bandai Namco Games under the Bandai brand name in Japan and in Europe, and as Atari in North America and Australia from 2005 to 2007. Atari PAL distribution network was absorbed into Bandai Namco partner and has also handled publishing in North America for future Dragon Ball Z game since 2010, effectively ending Atari's involvement with Dragon Ball Z games. Dragon Ball Saga, the first Dragon Ball Z console game to be developed by a non-Japanese developer, American in this case, The first game, Dragon Ball Z, came to be released on a non-Japanese console, which is the Xbox. Saga is a linear combat-focused game with new ability becoming available via upgrade. There are three basic fighting styles: melee, combo, and ki. Melee attacks are often swift and leave the opponent temporarily stunned.
Final round. Fight!
Here's a bonus.
Super Dragon Ball Z is a cel-shaded 3D fighting video game based on the Japanese manga series Dragon Ball. It was released in Japan on December 22nd in 2005 and in Europe in 2006. Arcade running on system 2056 hardware, and later for the PlayStation 2 on June 25 in 2006. The game was developed by Arika and Crafts and Meister, headed by Noritaka Funamizu, a former Capcom fighting game producer who worked on Street Fighter series and Darkstalkers. The game features 18 playable characters, destructible environments are there, and a game engine geared toward fans of more traditional fighting games. Game mechanics are essentially the same as those of the Budokai series, with some elements carried over from the burst limit. Players take control of and battle various characters from the Dragon Ball franchise. 42 characters are playable in comparison with Budokai 3, which has 38 characters. The game story mode, called the Dragon Mission, uses a map with various objective mission icons that retell some of the battle within the manga and anime series. Players take control of their icon Goku avatar by walking or running through an available mission icon.
Take this! Yeah! Take this! Too soon for you to die!
Dragon Ball Z Burst Limit is a fighting video game for the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360, based on the anime Dragon Ball Z. The game was developed by Dimps and published in North America and Australia by Atom, and in Japan and Europe by Bandai Namco, under the brand Bandai. It was released in Japan on June 5, 2008, in Europe on 2008 June 6, and North America on June 10, 2008.
Vegeta!
Each mission is usually broken down into few key objective missions, taking anywhere from 5 to 13 minutes to complete. The game is based on level. The more fights you win, the more experience you receive, which in turn makes your attacks stronger. In battle, the highest attack power of a card wins. However, you can also combine cards to create combination effects. For example, if you had 3 cards with a power rating of 7, you can combine these to create a 21 power card. which would most likely to outdo your opponent card. You can also combine defense in the same
What kind of power you really have? You've got more skill than that. Come on!
Dragon Ball Reigen Blast 2 is a video game based on the manga and anime franchise Dragon Ball, and is a follow-up to the 2009 video game Dragon Ball Reigen Blast. It was developed by Spike and published by Namco under the brand label of Bandai for the PlayStation 3, Xbox 360 gaming console. In the beginning of November 2010, the game is a 3D fighter that allows players to play as characters within the Dragon Ball universe, either against games or AI or another player in one of the various modes of play both on and online.
Here's something for you!
Dragon Ball Evolution. The gameplay is very similar to of its ancestor Dragon Ball Z Shin Budokai 2. It was developed by the same creator of Dragon Ball Z Shin Budokai and Dragon Ball Z Shin Budokai Another World. Same rush attacks, same command, and same gameplay engine. The difference here is that this game is based on the movie Dragon Ball Evolution, and the characters are actually based on the movie itself, so you will see character design like in the movie, not like in the
Impossible! How about this?
Dragon Ball Z Ultimate Tenkaichi is a game based on the manga series Dragon Ball Z. It was developed by Spark and published by Bandai Namco under the Bandai label Bandai in late October of 2011 for the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360. The game is a 3D fighter game that allows players to take control of various characters from the Dragon Ball Z franchise, or created by the player to either fight against the AI character or with another player locally or online. Ultimate BOUT differentiates itself from the other game in the BOUT sub-series in featuring special mode that can be performed via either button input combination or touching the Nintendo DS touchscreen. Its story mode converts events from the beginning of the Saiyan arcs to the end of the Majin Buu arc alongside what-if scenarios. Despite the later arc not being yet adapted to the Kai series at the time of its release until it was eventually adapted in April 2014 and finished its run in June 2015. team fighting action title that leads up to a player battle in hours against one another. Game supports up to 4 players in cooperative play, and each player performs attacks together and in one another. It also supports online multiplayer button. The game features more than 70 characters instead of transformation grouped together into one character. They are separated into each transformation age. The pre-order offer comes in with 2 in-game DLC characters, Super Vegeta and Super Saiyan Bardock, available via pre-order. Dragon Ball Xenoverse is an action role-playing fighting game based on the Dragon Ball franchise, developed by Dips and published by Bandai Namco Games. It was released on February 2015. The game is set almost entirely within a number of 3D areas, which are mostly modeled after notable locations in the Dragon Ball universe. Access from the main hub, the Toki City, fighters can traverse the levels free roaming in large spaces and can fight on ground and in air and under. Dragon Ball Z Kakarot is primarily an action role-playing game with fighting game elements. The player can battle opponents and do activities like fishing, collecting Z orbs, eating, driving in a hover car, training and putting characters in soul emblems. The game plots follow the progression of the anime series as the player interacts with the surrounding world as the different playable characters. Dragon Ball Sparking Zero is the fourth installment in the Budokai Tenkaichi series. It was announced through a teaser trailer at Bandai Dragon Ball Game Battle Hour 2023. Sparking Zero will release exclusively for PS5 and Xbox Series X and S, as well as PC via Steam. The game will feature both new and returning playable characters, form and stages, with the stages containing destructible elements. The new title is expected to include obscure characters from throughout the franchise, much like prior Budokai Tenkaichi entries.